Is everybody in? Is everybody in? The show is about to begin.
Welcome to the podcast, concerts that made us, interviews and stories, tales from the bus. We love taking you back to when it all went down. The greatest live shows and that cheering crowd sound. It's concerts that made us, concertsthatmadeus.com.
Kurt Deimer, you're very welcome to Concerts That Made Us.
Hey, thank you for having me, Brian. I appreciate it very much, man.
It's great to have you now. I'm really looking forward to diving into the chat where we have a lot to talk about. So you released Doom back in August. It's a hell of a song and the video is amazing. You wrote it for your upcoming movie, Hillbilly Hollow. What can you tell us about it?
Well, Hillbilly Hollow is a project that I started a couple years ago. I was in the movie Halloween that came out in 2018, and while I was sitting on the set of that movie, waiting for my kill scene, I'm one of the few killed by the real Michael Myers from the John Carpenter franchise, so that's quite an honor. I'm sitting there talking with James Jude Courtney, my friend who played Michael Myers, and I'm just sitting there thinking, I'm going to do my own horror franchise. I love this. This was the second movie I was cast in. And I'm like, I'm going to do my own. So I got with another actor, Kevin Wayne, who I knew from Alabama, who I'd done some smaller stuff with after the first movie I was in called Trading Paint with John Travolta. And we knew he had this Hillbilly Hollow idea, and it's an actual place in Alabama that's like a Halloween scare attraction. So we wrote a script, came up with creative kills in the beginning of this franchise, kind of in the vein of how Halloween, the first one so long ago, was done, on a low budget, and just putting forth that movie that became so epic and classical, and that's why 18 came out. So that was how we got together to do Hillbilly Hollow, and then our final scene is so epic. And a lot of my songs from my music are in the movie on the soundtrack. So I had written a new song a couple years ago that would be appropriate for a cool ending of a horror movie. But I also wanted to, because there's doom in horror movies, but I also like to write about life and things I witnessed and have seen in my life and try to help people think. So I wrote kind of about the doom of horror in addition to the doom of what drug addiction can do to people, and incorporated the two together to share that message with everyone. But that's how that came about.
Nice. And something I was wondering is, how do you approach writing a song for a movie as opposed to just a song for music? Is there much of a difference?
Well, Doom, I just wrote. I knew I needed something cool for the movie, but I didn't write it per se for the movie because I always wanted to share the message about addiction, heroin addiction, cocaine, anything, any drug that somebody's addicted to, opioids, or what it can do to you. So it just kind of fit together in my brain at the time. But it's a great question because I have another movie I just shot in March that I star in with Lynn Shay and Bill Moseley from the Rob Zombie movies, and Lynn Shay from Insidious, and Something About Mary and Kingpin and all those. So we star in this movie called Scared to Death that should be coming to theaters next year. And on that movie, I wrote the score, not the score, I didn't score the sound of the movie, but I wrote the song for the movie, and it's actually called Scared to Death. And it does relate to the movie and what goes on in the movie. So it was a totally different process, but it's a killer, badass song that, once the movie comes out, it'll come out on the soundtrack, and we'll play it live eventually when we have more room to do a theatrical performance, because that's eventually where I'm headed, and it'll be so fucking amazing, and it's a wicked song. So Doom I didn't write for the movie per se, Scared to Death I did, so it just depends.
Right, I get you. And how do you approach, I don't want to sound like a job interview now, but how do you approach your time management? I mean, you're a singer, director, actor, and a businessman. How do you find the time to fit everything in?
Well, my businesses pretty much run themselves now. I started my companies in '99, and I've got a bulk blending plant where I make all my own oil up in Pennsylvania that runs itself. And then I've got my other company, Coolants Plus, that distributes Starfire, which is my oil brand all over the world. So I built those companies, put my sweat and tears in there while I was raising my boys, and just didn't take no for an answer from anybody. Everybody told me I couldn't do it. I built them. Now they run like clockwork, and I make the big decisions if needed because I have a right-hand man who runs everything, Darren Ward, and he knows. He's been with me since 2005, and he knows how to run the whole thing, or I never could have left it. So once I got into the trading paint movie, I decided I'm going to get back into my creative side that I suppressed at a young age to raise a family and get married, and go back and do what I wanted to do. And that's what I'm doing. And I juggle it fine as long as the schedule's out. Our tours are getting booked more in advance now that we've become bigger. So I can manage that schedule and then pick and choose when I can shoot a film, and I schedule in that time, and then they know I can't be on the road. But it's really not a lot for me to juggle stuff because I'm a guy who's went after everything in life, done everything everybody told me I couldn't do, and it just doesn't faze me and all. It doesn't bother me. So
That's one thing I've heard about you, actually. Your work ethic is unmatched.
Well, you can have all the talent in the world, and maybe I have a little bit or whatever. I'm creative. My voice is different, but if you don't work hard, talent is worth nothing. So, and I don't think enough people realize if you just have a good hard work ethic, you can accomplish pretty much anything you want in life. When people knock you down, though, you got to get back up. You can't sit there and feel sorry for yourself. And that's how I am.
It's very true. It's very true. It reminds me of something I'm always saying. If you work long and hard enough at something you're good at, good things will happen.
Yeah, and that's it. And you can't, when you're going to get beat up in this life, I mean, it's just people, there's going to be people who don't like you, people who like you, people who are jealous because you do work hard and you've accomplished things, people who envy you. It's a lot of negativity in the world, and you just got to compartmentalize all that and just let it be what it is, and then you continue to follow your dream and don't let that beat you up.
Exactly. And back in September you went on tour with Skid Row and Buckcherry. How did that tour go?
Oh, that was amazing, man. We got a lot more new fans, and Skid Row and the guys and the Buckcherry guys were great. Then we did some other shows with just Buckcherry, went up into Montana. That was badass. All the people up there are awesome, and the Dakotas, and great tour, great blend of bands. It was just our three bands on when it was all three of us, and it was just a great rock show for people, and it got people to see music they have known for years and years. But then people got to hear us when we came out, and I'm still, who the fuck is Kurt Deimer? People don't know, all over the world like they do Skid Row or a Buckcherry or a Disturbed or any big band, even bigger bands. But we're getting there, and because of their kindness and letting us go out on that tour with them, we just keep building fans everywhere we go, and things are growing at a rapid pace because I've only been touring about 2 years and a month right now.
Oh man. Going straight to the top in such a short time.
Time is of the essence, man. We're not getting any younger. So
very true. And you're currently on tour with Mushroomhead. How's that tour going?
It's going good. A totally different dynamic. We've got four bands, or not band, well, three bands: Fleischkrieg, us, Mushroomhead. We're second on the bill, but in between us and Mushroomhead, it's the Hells of Poppin' circus of sideshow, kind of the freak show thing. And so it's a unique bill. But since I'm in horror and we're featuring Doom, and Doom's out right now being pushed on radio, my booking agent felt it would be a great opportunity to go out, showcase everything that I do to fans, people that are really fans of that kind of vibe. And it's been great for October, and we're going to finish this run the end of the month, and we've already got stuff booking up for the first of the year, and going to finish my debut double album here in November, and film some stuff for my character and Scared to Death, the Grog, and all kinds of cool shit happening. But it's been a great run. It's different. It's a smaller club run, but we're right up there with the people and right in their face. And I go out into the crowd, and it's been a blast.
Yeah, sounds it. And you're actually playing a gig tonight, and I'd love if you could give us some insights into what your day looks like today when you have such a big gig tonight.
Well, we got a gig here up at the Annex in Wisconsin, and here's the dilemma today. It's the stages. We can barely get everybody's stuff up there. So we're trying to figure out room. The merch area is small. It's going to be a packed house, but it holds about 250 people. So it's going to be quite a raucous night, but you have to navigate where you're going to put this, especially when you have all the stuff that Mushroom Head has and all the props and the circus sideshow and all their props. And I mean, tonight I just said to my tour manager, hell, we'll just stand up there like a quartet. I don't care. I'll go out in the crowd, whatever. Whatever gets everybody going. It's a rock show, and in rock, there's no rules, there's no limits, and we're just going to go rock it out. But right now, they're setting up inside. I'll try to figure out, am I going to go to the hotel? Am I going to do this? Where am I going to eat? Where we go on at 7:45. Once 6:45 hits, I'm in the zone and I'm ready to go. And then I just get my head ready to go out there and entertain the crowd and rock it out. So it's quite a chaotic day, especially when you're trying to figure out how to have room on the stage. So.
Yeah. And you're playing another gig tomorrow. There's no day for rest, and it's in a completely different place. Will you be traveling all night with little sleep?
Well, I will be what we'll do, like we played St. Louis on Tuesday. I can't even remember where we played. Oh, last night we were in Hobart, Indiana, and we did that show, and then we get on the bus at 2, and I woke up today in Wisconsin, thankfully in a McDonald's parking lot, so I could get a McDonald's Coke. And we headed on over to the venue. Now we play the Annex in Wisconsin, and I think we head to Bloomington, Illinois tomorrow, which, by the way, I graduated high school in Chicago, and my first year of college was actually in Bloomington, Illinois State. So we're going back to where I lived in the mid 80s and went to college, and it's going to be cool to be back in that town. And then we'll head from there to Joliet, and then we'll head from there to Michigan, and it's all week. It's no day off this week, which is kind of unusual, but you just knock it out. You do what you got to do.
Exactly. Do you find it hard to keep your voice on top notch when you've no days off, no break in between?
No, it actually helps my voice more, but I'm not the kind of singer that's trying to, hit high notes and all. I stay in my lane. I stay in my comfort zone. My voice has become much stronger in the last couple of years since I got back into music after such a long layoff. And I have way more range now and stuff, but I don't ever push it to where it's going to do any damage to my voice. And I purposely write and stay in lane because I think that's the best product I give to the fans, to just be me and not try to be something I'm not. So my voice stays strong all the time.
Good to hear. And, the podcast is called Concerts That Made Us. So I have to ask you some concert related questions. As a concert goer, what concerts would you say have made you?
What makes me do what I'm doing now? I saw AC/DC. I love how his voice, Bon Scott, all the way back to Bon and Brian, just how they stay in their lane. They sing the way they sing. They're not trying to be somebody they're not. So that left a big impression on me. Ozzy left a big impression on me. I saw Ozzy and Randy Rhoads before Randy passed away. And just the theatrics, which I'm going to bring into mind once I headline. And Van Halen, I saw the Fair Warning tour, and just how they are unique and did what they do. I mean, hell, their first support tour was with Black Sabbath. So you go to a Black Sabbath show, and then this Van Halen comes out with David Lee Roth kicking his legs. The great Eddie Van Halen, God rest his soul, and just unheard of guitarmanship, and they stayed true to who they were. So those three bands really left a big impression on me, and I've seen a lot of concerts, but it taught me I can just be me, have my own unique style of music, bring it to the world. At first, it may not catch on, but when it does, it's going to, and then people are going to be tripping, and we're going to go all over the world, and we're going to rock out the way I do it.
Brilliant, brilliant. And when you think of your own gigs that you've played, is there one that sticks out in your mind as maybe the best experience you've had overall?
Of my gigs, yeah, there's a couple. I mean, we've had some really good gigs in this small 2-year period. I would say the night I got to, the first one would be, my dream was to play at the Whiskey. I went to LA in 2020. I said, someday I'm going to play the Whiskey. So I played the Whiskey, actually November of 2021. So it wasn't much long after I promised myself to cross that off the list. And then we did the Rainbow Room's 50th anniversary. That was another, goal. And then I guess as far as other shows outside of that area, as we've progressed, we've done some epic shows with Tesla. We did one at the Brady Center in my hometown of Cincinnati, Ohio. And it was an epic night, had the whole crowd going everywhere. We've had several great shows with Tesla. And we did a show actually that really surprised me down in Paducah, Kentucky with Skid Row and Buck Cherry. And just this huge place just packed, and we lit up the whole room. We played What You Sayin', and just the crowd was just phenomenal, and just got so many new fans. So those are some of my highlight moments. But we've had some epic shows so far, and I'm very blessed to have been able to do that at such a short amount of time.
Yeah, exactly. And now I always say you have to have the good with the bad. So without mentioning names, is there any gigs that in your entire time playing gigs maybe didn't go so well? And how did you overcome them?
You want me to not name names? Right.
Well, if you want to name names, you can. I don't mind.
Well, I've been fortunate that I really haven't had any weird bad tours or anything. We went out on one run and with a bunch of other bands, and it just wasn't really the right vibe for us, and we had some conflicts, so we had to pass on the second leg of the run, and it bit the bullet because it didn't make financial sense. So that was a negative experience. And we've been out with another band, and where we didn't have much room on the stage, and the headliner really didn't give a shit about anybody else that was out playing with them. So that whole tour just had kind of a negative vibe to it. But other than that, everything's been going great.
Good. And when it comes to showtime then, just beforehand, do you have any pre-show or post-show rituals? How do you psych yourself up, and then how do you wind down afterwards?
I always make sure the hour and a half before I get everything on, for the most part, that I'm going to wear, except for maybe my shirt. So I know all that's off my brain. An hour before, I'll pour myself a big styrofoam cup of ice and water and a little Grey Goose, and mix that up and just start sipping on it. I'll start clearing my throat, spitting like a motherfucker, doing all that till about 30 minutes before the show. Then I'll finish getting my stuff on. And 15 minutes before the show, as I'm continuing to have a little vodka and water at a leisurely pace, then I go into the back of the bus and I have a keyboard and I do my vocal warm up. And that 5 minutes before the show, me and the guys, we get into a circle and we always talk about the things of the day or what I want to say to motivate it before we go out and rock out. Give each other knuckles, and they get ready. The in-ears are turned on. I start, doing some stretches and talking to my dad and my sister, who are both passed up in heaven. And I say, let's go rock this out, because they were both the musical ones at a young age. And I talked to my grandma, who lived to be 106, and tell her not to let me forget any of my lyrics. So I'm not stressed about that. She's up in heaven. And then they hit the opening, and then I go out and I go nuts. So that's what I do.
Right.
To a T, every day, methodically. So that's how I prep.
I see. Afterwards then, how do you get rid of the energy? How do you wind down?
Afterwards, I go outside, I cool off for a minute, and have a smoke and have some more of my drink. I might do a little hit of weed. Then I go back in and I meet all my fans at the merch booth and take selfies, sign stuff. And then once the next act starts, I leave out of courtesy. After they're done, I'll go back in, meet the fans again, take pictures, because that's how you build a fan base. I'm a man of the people, and I want people to know I'm strong and I'm there for them. And I preach that in my lyrics. And I'd go in and out after, and once the last band's over, I'll go in again and do the same thing. And then I'll try to find a little local pub or a dive bar to go chill, meet some of the locals before I have to get on the bus and head home, because I don't want to sit on the bus when I'm going to be on it all night. So I'm very much to myself kind of guy, but when it comes to fans, I spare I don't waste my time. I'm not seeing people. I want to go see people. I don't purposely try to avoid it. I think it's important for people to know I'm just like them. I'm a human being just like you or anybody else. And to share that time with them means a lot to them. And I intend to do that even when we become real big. I mean, you buy some merch, you'll get a little ticket. Like me and the whole band, you come back after the show and we'll sign everything for free. I'm not going to charge you to meet me, just come meet us. I mean, you took the time, you spent the money on the ticket, come see us and know what Kurt Deimer's all about. So
I like that way of doing it. It's very genuine. And I suppose before we dive into the last couple of questions, then, future plans that you'd like that are set in stone. Anything you'd like to share with us?
Well, we got November, when I'm done on the Mushroom Head tour, I'll be going out to LA to film some stuff for my character, the Grog from Scared to Death, promo stuff. We got that film should be coming out anytime. We'll probably have a big premiere and it'll come out in theaters and whatnot. I'll be finishing my debut album. It'll be a double album like back in the day, where you could open it up and tell the story of what my journey's been like so far. It'll have about 16 songs on it. So we'll be finishing that. So that'll carry me through the end of the year, besides maybe some other little projects, writing and whatnot. Then we're going out with Tesla in January. Dates are going to be announced here soon down in Florida and some other areas. Then we're going to do some of our own headline shows in some of the markets we've been in the U.S. Many times in between. And then we have more Tesla dates in March, unless this other tour we're working on, which I can't speak about, comes to fruition. Then we'll be going on a 5-week run that'll be pretty huge in March and April. Otherwise, we'll do the Tesla dates that we have in March, but we're definitely doing Tesla dates in January. And then I don't know yet what's happening in the spring or summer, but depending on the schedule of the summer and the spring, I'll probably try to shoot a movie midsummer. I got some projects that I've been asked to be a part of. And if that happens, then I'll try to do some biker fests or festivals, in between. And then in the fall, we'll go back out on a full-blown tour again, but not sure which one. So it's going to be a busy 2024 because we're starting to grow, and we're starting to grow fast. You can feel the momentum, especially once these movies come out too,
Yeah, exactly. And I know it's a bit of an impossible question, but how long do we have to wait to see you over in Europe?
I'd be there tomorrow. The opportunity, I almost was there with Manowar beginning of this year, but the financial aspect of it didn't work out. It was unfortunate, but I was almost there then. And as soon as the opportunity arises, or our fan base picks up, or one of the movies hits, or whatever, I want to be in Europe. Hell, I want to buy another home over in Ireland and have a base out of Ireland to tour all over Europe. So, and that's definitely in my plans for the future.
It's a good plan. And I suppose we'll dive into the last couple. These are a couple of fun, random music questions, but I'm intrigued to see your answers. So if you could see any performer from history in concert for one night only, who would it be?
Any performer for one night that I haven't seen.
Yeah.
And it can be a band, right?
Yeah, anyone.
I had tickets to see Led Zeppelin when John Bonham died, and he died before they got to Houston. So that would be the one show I would like to see, Led Zeppelin with John Bonham.
Oh man, that must have really kicked in the stones.
Oh, it sucked. Yeah. I'm lucky I saw Randy Rhoads before he died. It was like 2 months before he died. I saw Randy.
Yeah. Oh my God. And the next one, it's a bit odd. If you had to be locked in a room for 24 hours with any musician from history, who would it be?
24 hours locked in a room. That musician. I want to give the best answer here, so bear with me. Just to sit and talk, and I would say, who would intrigue me the most? Man, that's a good question. Probably not later in his life, but earlier in his life, where we could just sit and chill and talk, and he'd be chill like me. It would seem he'd probably drink with me, probably smoke with me. Johnny Cash.
Right, that's a good one, Art. Yeah, I could see that happening.
We'd vibe together.
Yeah, definitely.
And I never saw Johnny, but I just thought he was cool. He did it his way too. You know, he had that low voice. I feel it. You know, it's like me and Johnny Cash. You know, that would be badass.
Yeah, without a doubt. And the final one. So, what song would appear on the soundtrack to your life?
The soundtrack to my life. What would be the most? This is going to be crazy. I'm trying to think of the name of it. It's a Limp Bizkit song, and it's this song, "Living Life in the Fast Lane." Living it up, not giving a fuck. Living life? What's the name of that song?
Living It Up.
Living It Up. That's it. That would be the song that best describes me. I'm not afraid of shit, and I'm living it up, and I'm doing it my way. And to most people, it probably seems like I'm living life in the fast lane. So
must be that one. So brilliant. Listen, Kurt, it's been an absolute blast. Now I've really enjoyed chatting with you.
Well, thank you for having me, man. And I hope everyone over in Ireland's having a great day in this crazy world. And I can't wait to get over there, and hopefully everybody will spread the word and look us up and follow us, and that we'll get to Europe even quicker. Because exactly. Once we do, it'll be the first of many, many, many years. I'm doing this till I die, so I'll be there a lot.
Welcome to the podcast, Conscience That Made Us. Interviews and stories, tales from the bus. We love taking you back to when it all went down. The greatest live shows and the cheering crowd sound. It's concerts that made us, concertsthatmadeus.com.